Hi, this is a video about my politics in terms of policy. I'm on the far left of social democracy, wanting a fast redistribution of wealth, income, power. Just in case you might be able to hear dog in the background thing. Oh, there she is. Sorry about my camera work there, it's not very good. Just in case you can hear anything munching, that's been my dog. Right, yeah. So, a fast redistribution of wealth, income, power. Now, in terms of policy, for example, universal basic income. Someone tweeted earlier today, he's an American universal basic income supporter. He said universal basic income. Shane Monahan describes UBI as super important. We all need FU money. He continues, UBI would prevent us from being taken advantage of by employers who know we need their paychecks to survive. Along the same lines, it would give us the freedom to pursue a more rewarding, fulfilling job or start a small business. Universal basic income is FUCK money for normal people. Kind of balances out power between the employer and the rest of us, rather than all the power being for the employer. So, for example, if someone's being bullied by the employer, they can just leave the job, rather than feel like they have to keep the job in order to survive, to pay the bills. And that's important. That's one day it's going to have to happen, that sort of thing, because it's just so obvious that it's a sensible policy, rather than allowing some people to will never tolerate being exploited, and other people have to tolerate it. It's ridiculous. So it's like I think it's Stephen Richmond says on Twitter. It's equal liberty. He's for equal liberty for people. And he supports UBI. So I understand when I match that with that, I understand what he's saying. We haven't got equal liberty if some people can't be not meant to be exploited because it's wrong, whereas other people can be. We should all not be able to be exploited. So it's not about equaling it out so we're all exploited. So equaling it out so that we're all not exploited. But of course, unfortunately, Britain's an oligarchy. It's a propaganda matrix. It's a scam. So we have these power differences where some people have to be treated perfectly well and other people have to be treated not perfectly well at all. They can be manipulated, gaslighted, exploited, left to rot, poor, unable to pay the bills, anxious, mentally ill, completely and utterly living a pointless, wasted life. So that's unfortunately what some people want. They want that inequality. I don't support that at all. So on policy, I mentioned universal basic income there. Also for because for example, we used to have people unable to afford healthcare, so they'd be ill and just have to stay ill. So we gave them free healthcare, so they could, you can have healthcare. You should be able to have healthcare. It's a right. Some people used to have, no. Beans just knocked a wallet folder over and had the shock of a life. It's not much, honestly. It was just a wallet folder. So if you're a dog lover, it was just a border collie thing. Anyway, getting back to the point. We used to have people who couldn't afford to read and write and so forth. They've wasted lives. The parents were probably unable to afford to read and write because they never were given education either. And then people start thinking, well, then people are just in the place they're meant to be because they're just thick stuff. But it's not true. They just haven't got the opportunity that other people have. And we can see that now because people can all read and write, and these working class go to uni and they get degrees, etc., etc. They become middle class professionals, etc., etc., etc. So we gave them free education, and now we've got people who have not got much money, and money is required as an access pass in our society. And just like health and education is a right, so is the right to not be in dire income poverty. Also, I think housing, people should all have the right to modest housing. Now, obviously, this is all going to cost a fortune but who is it costing a fortune to not to have it? To the masses, to the poor, etc. So when we talk about it being expensive and costing a fortune, what I'm for is for switching the cost of it to billionaires and millionaires, people over 500, wealth tax, things like that. And maybe it's a bit higher taxes on people on like maybe 80,000 and things like that. But not just letting everyone rot. No. Not just letting everyone rot. That's the tempter or something. No, Bean. Being a bit naughty. Yeah, so the cost it's expensive to have it for the wealthy, right? But not so that they don't not so that the wealthy become not wealthy. Whereas the poor do stay poor without it. So I'm thinking that the cost shouldn't be on the poor. It should be on the wealthy. Bean, look what she's doing. Keep scratching the floor. Bean. So like the cost, like I said, the cost should be on the shoulders of the wealthy, not on the poor. Bean. Go bye-byes. Wait, do you want to go downstairs? Come here, on the bed. Sorry about this, but she needs to come up here. If she comes up here, she might be here. Hopefully sat down on a comfy bed. Right, so there's the policies regarding housing, regarding tax, so wealth tax. Wealth tax could raise an absolute fortune if it's on people over £500,000 worth of wealth. Taxes on billionaires. I want to get rid of the news media by the inquiry. I'm not bothered about raising money from them, just want them to go out of business from the national news media, especially the print press is what I mean mainly there. And I've said before that the print press, national print press would be part of an inquiry that would educate people on the propaganda matrix. For the propaganda matrix, so many videos you can watch of mine that I've done, including Science of Propaganda. It's in 3 parts. Now, take NHS spending up to German levels. And all of this would be like, I mean, I'm on the far left of social democracy, which means that I'm not completely against market capitalism. I want a market in non-essentials as we have already. I would also think maybe no tax up to about £18,000, something like that. I'm not being fetish about 18,000, but something like that. No income tax on up to that level. So then the taxes after that up to 70 or 80,000 or whatever could just stay as they are now. But the wealth taxes and the other taxes, and would maybe have to be taxes lowered down in order to prevent inflation from UBI. I mean, so like, there's got to be some policy done that is not progressive sounding, that is to make sure that we don't get spiraling inflation. So I would definitely listen to anyone speaking about that. But there's got to be whatever the UBI is. Like I said, the first figure we give, we make sure it is approximately that precisely by preventing the inflation. That's crucial. The dog's just a bit restless today, being there tonight. Bean, do you want to come here? She's got a sock. Bean. Sorry about this. She's just come back to the sock. I think it wasn't a very good move on her. She knows I want that. Bloody hell. Well, this is a mixture of politics and dog. She is so fast. She managed to beat me and keep the sock. She actually moved the sock fast before going to the foot. She's good. She's very good. She knows what I'm doing. Sock or food, Bean? Sock or food? Why do you choose the sock? She's looking at the food. And he's looking at the sock. Here's the food. Foody woody. Yay. I got this off. He's been so I'm not going to do this video again, just keep the element in. I just try to remember where I was at now. Talking about healthcare going up to German levels. Yeah. Why the hell do we always spend less than similar European nations on stuff like this? What is that about? Why? I don't understand. So yeah, in all, so I got, and also I was going on about how taxes would and there being non-essentials, marketing non-essentials. Yeah, and capitalism wouldn't be destroyed. It would be more or less equal liberty, like Steve Richmond says, with the rest of us. So like it would be, so like we couldn't be exploited. That's the key. Non-exploitation. At the moment, capitalism has always allowed itself to be perceived rightly as exploitative. but it doesn't have to be. We can with UBI, if it's high enough level, we can get around that exploitative nature of it, so that if we all have freedom to choose, not just the rich. It's giving us all the same equal rights. I don't believe in rights being like for the rich and the rest of us don't have rights. With equal liberty, equal rights. So, and we can do that with UBI. UBI has to be as high as possible without causing spiraling inflation. We have to get inflation under control with UBI. Now, there's always that challenge of inflation, but there has been with every other public spending thing that went to people. You know, it gives pensions. Don't you think this issue arose? You know, when we brought in a welfare state, don't you think this issue would have arose? So we deal with it, and our welfare system is not as generous as the social democracies. But my ideas would be a very generous welfare system. Well, if we even call it welfare, because UBI could be called citizens' income. We take public spending up as high as necessary. Where does she find these things from? Anyway, from sock to inner slipper. It's like she's going about footwear tonight. Yeah, so the public spending as a proportion of GDP would be very high, because I wouldn't be giving a damn. I wouldn't care less how high it went, so it would be very high. But inflation would be factored in. Still have non-essentials, marketing non-essentials. The taxes would be far more progressive. Wealth tax would come in. Would effectively be in between. So I'd want to blur the lines between whether a capitalist or not. You're in a high energy mood tonight, Bean. Are you on something? You want getting high off socks and slippers? Someone's put something in her food tonight. Not me. While their energy is running high, the energy on my laptop is running low. I need to keep it a bit of power, otherwise it'll go off. Yeah, so we'll be at very left-wing social democracy. Oh, goodness, that Bean. You're going up. Go on. Go see them. Well, you could go there. So much energy tonight. She's 2 years and 3 months old, so she's normally high energy, but she's got an extra level tonight. Bean. I had a walk tonight as well. So, what's his name? Devin Brown, so I could just say sleep when I click my fingers. She's doing wrong constantly. Right, Bean. Come on, going downstairs. Bean. No. Right, yeah, would be it. This video is the most disturbed I've ever made. I want to give her a big temptation now by throwing food outside the door. Come on, what's this? No. Thank God. Going on holiday with her next month. All by myself. It's true. So, yeah, we'll be a far left social democracy. Peace now. I want peace. Yeah, that's another thing. Peace in the world. I want to cut our ties with the US empire completely. Not with American people, with their state superstructure, their military industrial complex, that their own people complaining about all the time anyway. So why should we want to be blooming well sucking up to them? So JFK couldn't stand them on that, and nor can his nephew, and nor can I. So you don't have to be anti-state system to actually be against that crap. The warmongers won out of it. Now, rather than being their puppet all the time. And I've done in terms of the UK, defence would just mean defence. So we wouldn't. Let me see. When I walked over, I let out. Charging came out. Right, so yeah, defence means defence for the UK. Does it mean the fighting wars all over the place and threatening Russia and China with getting a bit of an ass kicking, which I don't think would happen anywhere. No, so what would be so stupid to do that for? Would just defend the UK. Wouldn't go around saying, "Oh, look at us. We look hard next to the US, don't we? Treat us and we'll get our blooming big boys to kick your ass." No, we won't be doing that. None of that stuff. If believe me, once the UK has waved goodbye to the US, we wouldn't do much for ourselves. Believe me, no chance. I think our powers that be actually do probably have a good, sensible, intelligent analysis of how much we couldn't take on China and Russia by ourselves. So once we say goodbye to the US, we'd only be defending ourselves. Of course, we should do that, and that's fine. That's fine. But that's it for me. And like I said, with the propaganda matrix and all that, you can see my other videos. So it'd save money on defence, therefore, which is very important, as well as the tax rises. Now, we'd be a very vastly more equal society. And when you get rid of excess power, you get rid of corruption, you get rid of propaganda, you get rid of what I called earlier on our scam propaganda matrix. I wrote, seeing through scams is not a tribal thing. Therefore, seeing through the elite's scam propaganda matrix is not a tribal thing. I said that within the context of non-tribal class war. And I said that class war doesn't mean working class v middle class. We're meant to be on the same side. We all got to see through this crap. It means that there's 0.00001% clique establishment, and then there's the rest of us. But I also said that don't underestimate that 0.00001%, because that's a massive state superstructure propaganda matrix that has stood firm for 150 odd years by being the twats that they are. So it lacks conscience, it doesn't lack intelligence. So we're up against a conscience deficit, but we're not up against an intelligence deficit. The propaganda matrix is smart, it's not thick, it's just immoral. So, and the question's like, well, you a commie, Paul, or something like that. The answer is no. I think working class has the best idea of exploitation, because the people in it tend to be the ones who have been traditionally exploited the most. middle class might have an academic, intelligent view of it as well. Obviously, the more the artificial intelligence harms the middle class, the more they'll have a working class experience of exploitation as well. They'll feel more like they have a former middle class and have now become working class. Marketing non-essentials. Well, that's private, so that's not communist, and it just occurs each day. Society's that's the functionalist sort of part of society. It does not stay done. It just happens. I wouldn't interfere with that. No chance. So yeah, and also people being able to live, and if they're working, they can earn up to about 18 grand, I would say, without being taxed, without being income tax, that is. And the state propaganda stuff, well, that's all, emissions propaganda is something we wouldn't do because we're decentralised. We're decentralised from the political class in Westminster to regional assemblies, Green Party policy now, and devolved parliaments. I'd also want to decentralise the news media so that the top of the news media is what is now regarded as the local news media, local press, because they've not got excess power. The top of the news media is just ridiculously billionaire-owned, massive corporations, multinational, act like unelected dictators of nations, and they do much of this propaganda matrix, the emissions propaganda, divide and rule, agenda setting, repetition of that agenda, herding people in cages, artificial partisan divide, fake freedom of speech, and terms, labels, mantras that they set off to keep it looking like this freedom of speech by when it's all just for them, their self benefit, their own gain. I mean, if you strip the propaganda away, so you see just the reality, what you see is a top-bottom system, billionaires at the top, doing everything for themselves, and the rest of us at the bottom. That's the reality. The propaganda stuff's just a lot of shit. It's really is a lot of shit. And but that's the way it is. Their starting point, my starting point and end point is health. Their starting point and end point is power and control. So for power and control that they want experience, they have to have propaganda. They can't just say we want power and control and then think nothing. You have to have a propaganda matrix. And basically, political class within this capitalist, militarist oligarchy. Well, they're just actors. They're just actors on a stage, and they're just really playing their part. So, pretending to have power, but really what they're doing is just maintaining the oligarchy for the billionaires to make it their playground and the multi-millionaires. I don't deny that to some extent some of the rich who aren't quite millionaires, etc., do well out of it. But basically, it's for the rich, basically, not for the rest of us. They're not doing this for us, they're doing it for themselves. So this is why I always say that the risk to them is that the middle class collapses through no fault of the middle class's own, through a technological revolution. And this could happen. And if that happens, then game on. Game on, we can bring these scumbags down. And we can have the peaceful revolution that we want. And there'll be none of this propaganda from us. We won't do any of that shit. We won't do any propaganda. We won't be manipulating anyone. Won't be exploiting anyone. On the contrary, we'll be fixing all of that shite with decentralisation of power, no excess power, Power corrupts. Won't be having any of that. We won't enrich ourselves. We'll just totally get rid of all that crap, and we'll have an equal and peaceful society. If they want to have this sort of society, this criminal racket, this cartel, go and do it on effing other planet or something. Go and take your billionaire rockets up there and have your wars and your capitalism and your early suicides and mental illnesses and unable to pay the bills and saying, well, off. And that kind of crap. Do all that shit somewhere else. No one's stopping them doing it to their own. But like football hooligans used to fight football hooligans. It's when they start fighting innocent people and hurting them, that's when there's a problem. And this is what they're like. A cartel that doesn't that uses us for their own ends. That's got to stop. That is stopping. People are seeing through it. That's a good thing. It's a good thing that more people than ever before are seeing through it. I just can't. So it's this. In conclusion, I'm wanting a massive redistribution of wealth, power, and income, decentralization all over the place, including bringing down the women. Really, we're not going to stop the rich being rich, but billionaires they're going to have to be taxed like 100%. There's no need for anyone to be a billionaire, and but the rich in general will not be made to be poor. They don't have anything to fear. What we're doing is making the poor not poor, and we're getting rid of the excess power and voice. They also want to cancel everyone else who doesn't have that. They're okay if you can't reach anyone, but once you can reach people like they can, then they want to just shut you up. And we're going to get rid of them. We're going to say, no, you have to have the same voice as us, equal liberty, so that the top is like the local news media, not bloody Murdoch media empires covering multiple nations and acting like unelected dictator in Britain. No chance. So it will be more equal, less corruption. And this requires that we become very left-wing. It requires that society is largely equal. So there's going to be a massive percentage of GDP taken in public spending, because that public spending is largely about getting money to the people, like I say, as high as possible without causing inflation. And it's largely about giving people what they need, not giving them stuff, like because they want it, because they need it. Difference. And they're going to be UBI and housing. So I think housing is right as well. So that it's going to there'll be a market in non-essentials, but other than that, it's going to be very, very, very like socialistic. In terms of, like, you might say it's not communism, but it's what it is getting the same end results. It's you could say, if you don't like communism because of stuff in the past, they had an authoritarian state. Well, we're not having an authoritarian state. We're getting rid of the centralization of power. We've got non-essential, we've got market non-essentials. So what we're going to have is, like, I describe it as a very far left social democracy. That's how I describe it. Right. This has been quite a good video, I think, despite the disturbances from being who I adore her. Going on holiday with her next month to a cottage. Anyway, in Durham. That's the end of the video. Bye for now.